But now let's focus on the other big story that came in late towards the evening, a slew of announcements after SEBI's latest board meeting. To talk about some of the key decisions that were taken last night, we have with us Sandeep Parekh, partner and founder at Finsec Law Advisor. Sandeep, morning. Thanks for taking this early call. You know, as I was going through the SEBI press release, I got back to a conversation that we had on this, I think, a couple of weeks back when we were discussing the widening scope of connected persons, right? And for the benefit of our viewers, I just want to read out the exact changes. Now, connected person includes a firm or its partner or its employee. It also includes a person sharing household or residence with another connected person. And then the whole definition of relative has been broadened. It's not just immediate relatives, it's all relatives, which has a whole list underneath it. Your first thoughts on whether this is warranted, justified? Because I remember in our last call, you were fairly concerned about going maybe a bit overboard on this.
Yeah, hi, morning. So I think it's an extremely poorly thought move, and it's going to hurt. I call this a move which is going to have result in 100% false positives and 100% false negatives. So it will only catch the non-crooked people. And how many crooks do you think are going to call their uncles and say, trade kar lo? So it's really going to really hurt people who will be able to disprove. If you have an uncle who's traded, how do you disprove that you didn't pass on information just because you chatted with him, every once a week? So, it's going to be quite a disastrous law in practice. And unfortunately, despite opposition, SEBI has chosen to implement it.
Sandeep, you've read through what they've announced, right? There is no. You were saying that they could tweak it to make it more reasonable, but that's not happened.
That's right. So it's
okay.
And remember, it's not just relatives. They've introduced classes of people like vendors and other people. So anybody. Again, this is not clear from the press release whether they've implemented everything, but based on the proposal paper, it included even people like vendors, etc. So it makes it very, very broad. And even if you're chatting with somebody, or somebody's a connection, and you happen to chat with them on the phone, and there'll be a presumption drawn that you use some information, illegal information, which was passed on to you. So, and that's impossible to disprove. So it's going to be a conviction even before a trial.
But Sandeep, I don't know. This is just a press release. I don't know when the final guidelines come through. Could there be some caveats or carve-outs? Because I think the broader thought seems to be that the existing definition was maybe not stringent or tight enough. And, there was all kinds of market activity going on where it might not be in your wife's name or your son's name, but, via other connected, persons.
So absolutely. So, depends what you mean by stringent. If you want to behead everybody on earth, then, you'll be the most stringent. But you have to catch the right people, right? So if you're catching the wrong people and kind of putting penalties on them, that's not a stringent law. That's a perverse law. I mean, that's exactly what it has become. It's already, I think there are many cases where people are just happen to be connected under these deeming provisions, and even a 5,000 share trade, there's a presumption drawn that you got some illegal information outside from the insider. So these are impossible things to disprove. And therefore, it catches the innocent a lot. And with this expansion, it will only catch the innocent. I don't think a crook is going to really trade through his or her uncle, right?
Sandeep, anything else apart from the connected person thing? I mean, there was a long list of things. Yeah. Anything else stood out to you?
It's a pretty long list. So I think the major thing, interesting thing is the alternative fund option which they've opened up. That kind of, I think they want to bring in more of the F&O traders or people who want more risk into the market through more regulated products. So I think that should be a big positive in terms of allowing people to take more risk through a regulated and structured product, which will have higher risk, but will also have a higher ticket size.
The other stuff that kind of stood out, Sandeep, in case you have a view on this, first of all, the whole move towards T+0, they're expanding it to, up to 500 companies. But I think that instantaneous settlement, that the release says that thought is that's been let go. Yeah, for now. So that's one. And the other one, which, I track personal finance, so that's also of extreme importance, because I know that the investment advisor community has been crying out, saying that the compliances are too heavy. And that whole thing of, getting more people to register as RIAs and maybe even research analysts, I think there's been a lot of dilution over there. Anything else that you took note of?
So I think that's absolutely it's a great thing to start with the dilution, but regulators don't like to call it dilution; they call it rationalization. But I think it's important that a country of 1.5 billion people, we don't have 1,000 registered investment advisors. We really need maybe at least 1 lakh. So I think broadly, I think the red line is they cannot commit fraud or mis-selling. Beyond that, I think they need to relax the norms even further, so that we come to our goal of having a large number of people cater to. Investment advice is relatively elite service. Because most of the investment advice is actually provided by distributors in India and anywhere in the world. So I think at least have a reasonable number. We may not have 1 million, but maybe target at least 50,000 or 1 lakh registered investment advisors in India. I think that should be the goal.
Okay.
All right, Sandeep, we'll leave it there. A quick conversation on the top of the show, but maybe we can connect once again once you have had the time to look through everything, because there is a lot of stuff there. But thank you for joining us with your first thinking on what has been done.